Most people have a deal with themselves that goes something like this. The future version of me will do it. The one who's more disciplined, more confident, less tired. The one who has it all figured out. That version. She'll wake up early. She'll do the work. She'll finally feel ready. And so we wait for her to show up. She doesn't. Not because she isn't coming, but because she was never the point. The person you're waiting on, the better, readier, more sorted version of you. She is not built in the future. She is built right now, in today's choices, in this morning, in whether you open the laptop or don't, whether you lace up your shoes or don't, whether you begin or don't. Identity is not something you arrive at. It is something you are constantly quietly making. We tend to think of identity as fixed, a thing we have like a name or a passport, something that was shaped early by family, by school, by things people said about us when we were too young to argue back, and is now more or less set. Psychology tells a different story. Your sense of self is not a noun. It's a verb. It's an ongoing process of interpretation. You do things, and then you decide what those things mean about who you are. Do them enough times, and the meaning solidifies. It stops being something you do. It becomes something you are. This is how habits work at its deepest level. Not as routines, as identity construction. Every time you sit down to write, you become a little more a writer. Every time you show up for your body, you become a little more someone that takes care of themselves. Every time you do the scary thing, the message you weren't sure about, the idea you shared before it was perfect, you become someone who acts despite the fear. And the reverse is equally true. Every time you defer to the future self, you become someone who defers. Every time you say, not today, you add one more data point to the story that today is not for you. Here is where it gets interesting and a little uncomfortable. Research in behavioral psychology shows that we don't actually experience our future selves the way we experience our present selves. Brain imaging studies have found that when people think about who they'll be in 10 years, the neural patterns look more like thinking about a stranger than thinking about themselves. You are, quite literally, delegating your life to someone you don't know. And you're doing it to protect yourself from something. From the vulnerability of trying and not quite making it. From the discomfort of being seen mid-process, unfinished, still figuring it out. The future self is a very elegant solution to that comfort. She will do it well. She will do it properly. You, right now, with uncertainty, and your half-formed plans and your Tuesday that goes sideways, you are not quite ready. But she'll be. The gap between you and her feels temporary. It's not temporary. It's the whole thing. So what do you do with that? You stop trying to become her before you begin, and you begin as you. I often struggle with that. Messy, uncertain, slightly underprepared, with the version of the plan you have today. Not the version you'll have once you've thought about it more. Here is what this looks like in practice. You ask yourself not, what would I do if I were already the person I want to be? That question keeps you in your head, comparing the distance. Instead you ask, what is the smallest thing the person I'm becoming would do today? Not the full thing, not the finished thing, the next true thing. Because identity, real, lasting, stable identity, is not built in grand gestures. It is built in the repetition of small, consistent acts that carry the signal, this is who I am. Every action you take is a vote, not for an outcome, but for an identity. Each time you show up, you're telling yourself something about who you are. Do it once, and it barely registers. Do it again, and the vote starts to count for something. There's no tipping point where the election resolves and you are declared the winner. No future moment where you'll have proven it enough to finally believe it. The proof doesn't arrive, you generate it. One vote at a time, starting now, whether or not you feel ready to cast it. You are already becoming someone. This is not optional. You cannot pause the process and resume it when the conditions improve. Right now, today, you are laying down the evidence for who you are. The question is only whether you are doing it on purpose. You do not need to have it figured out. You do not need to have the right tools or the right moment or the brave version of yourself that lives somewhere in the future. You need your next action. The one small, real, true thing. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. This is the work, and it starts now.